Hey y'all, it's your girl King Mo. Welcome back to Glow with Mo. Um, I just want to talk real quick. I know it's on TikTok, that they're talking about people with kids and no kids. And I want to talk about that real quick on here. Thank you to everybody who answered my poll, I should say. I was just seeing what kind of content you want to hear from me. I will get some more fashion content. I'm just trying to build what I want to do next with the fashion part as well. So bear with me. But until then, I'm going to be talking about these relationships, honey. And we're going to talk about um, being single, this whole debate on single people versus parents, honey, or childless people. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about, and parents, because it's getting ridiculous, y'all. It's getting ridiculous. I have a part one and part two because y'all know I like to chat, honey. Y'all know I like to chat, and y'all see I got a new microphone. I don't know how much I love it, but this is my new microphone, y'all. How you doing? I'm seeing a lot of think pieces on. Well, I couldn't imagine going home to kids. I couldn't, and single people need to stay in their lane and not talk about things, lives they don't live, and blah 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 blah. Everybody has a think piece on it, which is I'm providing mine. That's why darling. Okay, hello. And I think that we're all missing we're missing something here because a lot of times we are not necessarily communicating what we're feeling or what we're really meaning to say, right? And then we go and offend other communities because, um, as a lot of times people don't have kids because of trauma. And now that we are going into like more of a mental health and a lot of people are going no contact with parents and all this stuff, it's like a lot of people aren't having kids because of how they were treated as a kid, you know? And with the stress of life already, and then to turn around and have kids, they're like, oh my God, I can see why maybe I was treated that way. A lot of people have um, bad outlooks on parenting because of the way they were parented. And so sometimes it comes off really insensitive to parents, right? Because parents are like, I love my children. I'll come home to my children, they bring me joy, all of this good stuff. And sometimes other people, have their own trauma. Am I saying every single person who doesn't want to have kids doesn't has trauma? No, I'm not saying that. But there's an issue where when somebody's talking about singlehood, parenthood, that it's offending another group. It's offending another group because you're offended because it's triggering something. That's why. Me speaking on being a parent, I'm not a parent, I'm just speaking hypothetically. Me speaking about a parent, about being a parent, should not trigger single people because I'm not talking about single people, and I really shouldn't be referencing little people, single people, because I'm talking about parenting, right? If I'm a single person and I'm talking about coming home and being able to just be free, I should be able to talk about that and not trigger parents who have children, because it's two different lanes. But if we're triggering each other, if we're talking about our different lanes, if we're talking about our different lanes and we're triggering each other, it's because there has to be some sort of trauma there. There has to be some kind of deep rooted issue there where we are talking, we are triggering each other. I heard one lady, she was talking about um she has a lot of single, baby mama friends. Baby mama is not a reference to what we're talking about. Baby mama is a reference to a man. We're talking about being comfortable being a father, being comfortable about being a mother. Baby mama, baby daddy, when we're talking about parenting, that has nothing to do with it. Listen to what I'm saying, because the title baby mother and baby daddy has to do with a adult. That is your title to an adult. When we're talking about parenting, is do you enjoy being a mother? Do you enjoy being a father? Right? That's different. Nobody, of course, wants to be a single parent. I work with children all day, other people's kids. It takes a village. Teachers are constantly needing extra help in the classroom. We got 30 kids in the classroom, needy at that, all day long. And they're not ours. We love them. But when you're working with children, there's a lot of delayed rewards and you're on constantly. There's no time for, let me just think about this, right? I'll be talking to one student, another student's like, Miss G, Miss G, Miss G, Miss G, as I'm talking to a student, as if I'm not in the middle of something, right? And I have to say, wait a minute, you need to hold on. You need to say, excuse me, and wait for me to finish my conversation. And that can be overwhelming in the household after doing a long days of work. Kids don't always appreciate you. And that's the hard part about dealing with kids and having kids around you all the time. I'm not speaking from a parent's point of view, but I can understand why it is hard to be a parent because it's not instant gratification. A lot of times you are the villain. How many times as a teacher I've been the villain? And usually you're the villain when you're the one that actually cares. I see a lot in when I work with families. Kids glorify the parent that's not doing as much or doesn't do it, that doesn't invest in much, and they downplay the parent that actually is doing the work. They fight the parent that's actually doing the work. I don't. It happens. I've been seeing it for years upon years. The parent won't even be in the home, and that would be the glorified parent. It's twisted, but that's what kids do, and it really, if you don't keep yourself centered, it can really make you into a bitter person. Now, being single, you should be able to be single. Being single, you should be able to be single without feeling like you're less of an adult. I'm a grown ass woman. I'm a grown ass. Why is it that I have to be a parent to be respected as an adult? Why does my life feel, why me embracing my life makes you feel like I'm trying to downplay yours, right? Why me saying I do not want to have kids triggers you. That's the fact. Because you know what happens with when you're single and you don't have kids? Do you know what happens to you every day, all day as an adult? That's all people talk about. When you gonna have some kids? 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 That's all people ask you all all the time. And so a lot of times you have to continue constantly tell people, I don't want to have kids. I'm comfortable. I'm happy in the place that I am. And so sometimes when you are declaring that freedom, declaring that happiness, declaring that peace, declaring autonomy over your life, it can trigger some people because it's like, well, what's wrong with having kids? That's not what we're saying. But a lot of times people, when you're single, that's all people ask you. When you getting married, when you having kids, when you having kids, when you having kids. And so what we need to understand is that both journeys, being single, childless, no, maybe no spouse, whatever the situation, is not an easy walk. It's not an easy walk. You have to be very strong in mind. And in the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, you're relying on yourself, right? Being a parent is not an easy thing. And you have to do that too. You have to, at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, you have to rely on yourself. But we have to understand that the reason why when parents have conversation about parenthood and singles are triggered, it's because there's something else going on. When singles are talking about single stuff and being not being a parent and it's triggering parents, you need to step back for a minute and take a deep breath and figure out, why are you triggered? Because that has nothing to do with you. Neither situation has anything to do with each other, but we are triggered because there is something that we need to acknowledge and deal with. Does that make sense? Hello, how you doing? Good morning.